and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Hi, this is Austin Weber from Cincy Bros Coasters 365, and you're listening to the Coaster Challenge Podcast.
Hi, this is Jeremy from Buckeye Coasters, and you're listening to the Coaster Challenge Podcast.
Hi, I'm Jacopo. I'm the Thrills United Coaster representative from Rome, Italy, and you are listening to the Coaster Challenge Podcast.
Hey kids, this is Ian from Theme Park Stop. You're listening to the Coaster Challenge Podcast. Enjoy. Be nice to Dave. He's awesome.
Do you accept the Coaster Challenge? Yes, I accept the Coaster Challenge. Do you accept the Coaster Challenge? Coaster Challenge Podcast is here. It's time to face your fears. Get that theme park therapy and lend us both your Coaster Challenge Podcast is here. Your fear can disappear. We know that theme park therapy can dry up all your tears. Do you accept the Coaster Challenge? Yes, I accept the Coaster Challenge. Do you accept the Coaster Challenge? We accept because you know we're not average.
You're listening to the Coaster Challenge Podcast. A journey where people become fearful to fearless, all from riding roller coasters. So please secure your hats and glasses and keep your hands and arms inside the podcast. It's time to accept the Coaster Challenge with your host, David Cantu and Jenna Giselle.
Hey, how's it going, Jenna?
Great. How's it going, Dave?
It's going good, going good. Happy June 24th.
Oh my God, we're around the corner.
We're approaching the end. It's the end of June. Wow, can't get over. It's just been one heck of a month, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I'm looking forward to our pool party for the 4th.
Yeah, always look forward to the 4th of July. 4th of July, we also do a fireworks thing as well here at our house. Our whole family gets together. We see it at we live near the mountains, so they give off this really awesome fireworks show every 4th of July, and we get a front row seat of it. So we just pull out our lawn chairs, pull out some food, and just put on some music and just enjoy the fireworks.
Right, and you guys got the perfect view too.
Oh yes, we got a great view from our driveway. We don't even have to leave. We don't have to leave our driveway. We can just basically front lawn, just sit there and just have like a little picnic and enjoy the fireworks. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it every year. So, but I do look forward to your pool parties too.
I know. So much work goes into that though.
Oh, I just love when you guys barbecue carne asada and you do pasta salad and you guys cook hamburgers and hot dogs and then all the fun things people do in the swimming pool and all the funny jumps and dives they do. It's just hilarious.
And hopefully JD doesn't bottom out in the pool again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, guys, I hope you guys have good plans for this year's 4th of July. Hope you guys plan to celebrate it safely, especially areas that do fireworks. You know, make sure to stay safe out there when you're lighting fireworks. Eat a lot of good food out there. Fire up those grills. And I would love, if anybody out there is cooking anything fun, feel free to share what you're cooking on the 4th of July. Tag us at the Coaster Challenge Podcast. We'd love to see what you guys are cooking up there this 4th of July. I think it would be really fun to see.
Yep.
But anyway, guys, we got a very special guest lined up. Andrew's got a very special friend of his. His name is Tayton. And Tayton is a young coaster enthusiast based in Tampa, Florida. Really awesome for him to come on the podcast. And Andrew and him have a really awesome interview coming up. But first, we are going to do our lovely segment called the YouTube Highlight Clip of the Week.
It's the YouTube highlight clip of the week. The YouTube highlight clip of the week. It's a video that stands out because it's unique. It's the YouTube highlight clip of the week.
Alright, so in this week's YouTube Highlight Clip of the Week, we just happened to be stumbled upon a very interesting YouTube video that I think it would be something fun to share with all of you guys here today. Now, you know our mission here at the Coaster Challenge Podcast is helping people to overcome their fears. Not just on roller coasters, but fear in general, because roller coasters are really the instrument that helps people be able to conquer their fears, to be able to live a better life. We ended up finding out this video. This is a story that happened many years ago that a college professor decided to test his college students and his psychology class about overcoming their fears, and these college students actually signed up for this. These are people that were so afraid to get on a roller coaster that they actually decided to use roller coasters as an experiment to be able to help conquer their fears. And what a good place to go test it out, but they actually did this over at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. So take a listen.
For these students, there is nothing amusing about this Ohio amusement park.
It's okay. It's okay.
They're not here for the fun. They're here in the roller coaster capital of the world to face and hopefully overcome their biggest fear.
So how are you feeling? I'm feeling nervous standing here.
Will they find the courage to buckle up and ride or beg to get off?
But how many of you, when you ride a roller coaster or thinking about riding a roller coaster, get at least a little bit of fear or some anxiety?
Believe it or not, these terrified students signed up for this. They're human guinea pigs in abnormal psychology class.
Which brings us to what the Face Your Fear project is all about.
In this unique Face Your Fear project, Professor Kevin Meyer teaches his students to overcome general anxiety and phobias through immersion and exposure therapy.
Everyone's going to get something out of this.
The class, including Lexi, Zach, and Mary, will have learned to overcome their own mental corkscrew.
We're dealing with roller coasters, that's true. But the techniques they're going to learn in this class are generalizable to all sorts of anxieties, all sorts of fears.
Nearly 40 million adults in this country suffer from some form of an anxiety disorder. From social anxiety and panic disorder to the more extreme form, phobias. And many of these different anxieties can be treated and even cured using a common approach.
We teach people how to relax their bodies so that they can learn to control their emotions and become more mindful of what they're thinking and what they're feeling.
And so, chances are, if you're afraid of something, there may now be a class designed to help you overcome it. Paralyzed by icy roads? Take this Bridgestone Winter Driving School in Colorado.
No brakes.
No brakes.
No brakes.
Or afraid to fly?
Oh my God, you guys. Oh my God.
Take a class in fearless flying from a retired Air Force pilot.
It wasn't as bad as I guess I thought. I think maybe this is my first time flying, so just getting over that hurdle.
Back in Ohio, to get a baseline read on the level of fear amongst Professor Meyer's students, we brought a few to Cedar Point 8 weeks early. Lexi Boucher is touring the safety feature of the 93-mile-per-hour Millennium Force.
Are those like mechanically come down or do they push them down?
They cannot release until we give the train power from underneath.
I see younger kids who are happy to go on this, and I'm 21 and afraid, and it's almost like embarrassing.
She says she's hoping that in 8 weeks, not only will she be able to ride, but to be able to conquer her everyday anxieties.
I hate to go anywhere with a crowd.
Mary Tout knows exactly how Lexi feels. Her goal? To not overthink a ride on Top Thrill Dragster.
I honestly don't think I can ride that.
She's skeptical anything she learns in class will be enough to erase her fear.
As I'm standing here right now, I actually feel sick to my stomach. It's terrifying, to say the least. So I guess my goal is to at least get farther in line, let alone ride it.
6'6" Zach Irwin has never ridden a roller coaster because he is so consumed with the idea that he might fall out.
It's a very intense fear, whether it's rational or not.
But he's hoping he'll be able to join Lexi on the Millennium Force in just 7 weeks.
Taking a deep breath is extremely important.
In preparation for the big day, Professor Meyer teaches his class a series of techniques.
Step 1 is learning how to breathe. Try to breathe in slowly to a count of 5.
Breathe and focus on the present. Write a letter from your future self telling you what it felt like to succeed. Rethink how you think by watching point of view videos.
It gives their brain another option.
Professor Meyer says it takes mindful practice to make them work.
I came back to my room later and did the breathing exercises, and I came out of it really relaxed.
8 weeks later, Lexi is seeing noticeable change.
I think the breathing exercises that we've been doing have actually been working more than I thought. They're finally kind of slowing my thoughts down.
Zach has newfound determination.
It's kind of, go big or go home at this point.
But Mary is still racked with apprehension.
So how are you feeling? A little sick to my stomach right now.
Take some deep breaths. Say your mantras. Distract yourself. It is going to be fun.
You look terrified, Zach. Are you okay?
I'm good. We'll power through.
Arrivals will be around momentarily to check your seats. Please stand clear of the gates. They're now closing.
Finally, the moment of truth
How do you feel right now? So proud. Proud?
Yeah. Just looking at it. Looking at it's worse than being on it, I think.
And Mary, she trades her tears for cheers.
How do you feel?
I'm so happy it's over with. I actually had fun.
What does it mean that you conquered this fear?
It just means that I overcame something that was anxious for me and was able to just push through it and know that I was confident enough to do it.
Confidence they hope will follow them for the rest of their lives.
Now that I can do this, I can do anything else.
Good for you!
Thank you.
Well done!
For Nightline, I'm Lindsay Janis in Sandusky, Ohio.
We have Andrew standing by with Tayton. Take it away, Andrew.
Thank you, David and Jenna. This is Andrew, one of the executive producers of the Coaster Challenge podcast. I've got a special guest here today. I've got a friend of mine here in Florida, fellow ACE member. Welcome to the podcast, Tayton Laing. Hey, Tayton, how you doing?
Good. How about you? Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to get on this podcast with you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to you. Absolutely. Thanks for joining. So actually, to start off, I already know you, but for the help of our audience here, just go ahead and tell us about yourself, about your love of theme parks and coasters.
Yeah, so I'm Tayton. I'm 17, currently a junior in high school. And a little bit about me, I love going to theme parks. Anytime in my off time, get off of work early, I'll head up the road to my home park, which is Busch Gardens, Tampa. It's only about 30 minutes for me, and it has the amazing new coaster, Iron Gwazi, which, in my opinion, is the best coaster in the world. No doubt to me. I also play baseball for my high school, which is really fun. It keeps me going, keeps me getting up every day, and gives me something to look forward to.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, you keep pretty busy. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, keep really busy with both of those things. And we'll be talking about your new number one, certainly later on in the interview. We'll have some fun talking about that, reflecting on that. But thanks for introducing yourself. Before we get to your number one, let's talk about your kind of other number one, i.e. your number one credit, your first credit, if you will, the first coaster you rode. Do you remember what coaster that was?
Yeah, so it was actually the Barnstormer, I believe. Yeah, it was the Barnstormer at Disney. I feel like that's a lot of kids' first coaster.
Yeah.
But we were just at the park, and it was a super busy day, and they had no wait, so my mom just kind of forced me on it. She's like, I'll buy you a churro or something after. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And just after that, really, I kind of just fell in love with roller coasters.
How old were you?
I want to say like 5 or 6.
5 or 6. Okay. Let's jump from the Barnstormer. You said that you really got into coasters after that. How many coasters have you been on? What's your credit count at this point?
So it's actually kind of weird. I'm kind of like one of the I guess I could say weird coaster enthusiasts, because I don't really know how many credits I have, honestly. I know it's over 100, but I honestly lost track, and it's a lot of work to kind of figure that out. I think I'm in like the 150 area. I don't have too many. I don't have too little.
Okay. Yeah, I know a few enthusiasts that they don't bother to count. They're just out there having fun, enjoying the coasters. They remember all the major ones they've been on. I know you've been counting something else, and we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, okay, no problem. All right, so of all the 150 or so coasters you've been on, which one, at least before you got on it, kind of the anticipation, which one scared you the most or, intimidated you the most?
Honestly, I want to say this was about 4 years ago. Me and my uncle lived in California at the time. Went to Six Flags Magic Mountain X2. I don't know. There was just something about it. I don't know if it was because the seats twisted or just really wasn't the hugest coaster enthusiast at that time.
Right.
Something just about it just kind of just scared me, and I got on it and I loved it. But before that, I was kind of not shaking, but I was like kind of scared.
X2 is one of the most common answers, given the nature of it. The Hour 40, it's a very aggressive design. It's very unique, just very intense. So
yeah, and you really don't know what to expect too, because you don't know where the seats are going to go on your first time, and they just kind of rotate in weird ways.
Yeah, the rotation's crazy. Just how it perfectly just rotates you to base right down when you're going down that first drop. It's crazy. It's a wild ride. I wish that the what ifs kind of scenario, if Arrow had not gone out of business and they continued making those. Yeah, I mean, technically, sure. Yeah, I mean, SNS did make they made a Jamaica and they made Anaconda, but they didn't really change the design. It's similar. I've been on all three. They're all great rides. And granted, if what I just described happened, then we might not have RMC or not in the form that we have it, because Alan wouldn't have joined RMC, which would have been, well, that goes to your favorite one. We'll talk about that. So anyway, thanks for sharing that. You were very intimidated getting on X2. How did you feel when you got off of it?
It felt really good. Kind of like, what is it? I know Thrills United does it. It's like conquer your fears or something. And it just felt nice to finally, get over that fear and get get off it, and I just went right back in line. I was like,
Nice.
man, I got to do this again.
Yeah. So what happens is, and again, our mission is very much in parallel to Coaster Kids and Thrills United. In fact, we've done a lot of partnership with them. Even in our first season, we had a whole month of Thrills United episodes. Logan, Hunter, Skylar, basically four of the people from Thrills United. Actually, the other person we had, I don't know how many of the Thrills United guys because again, they're around the same age, but Jacopo was the other interview we did. He's from Italy. He's the only person we've interviewed that lives outside this country. It's a pretty cool interview that I did with him. Yeah, I mean, we have very similar missions about facing your fears and living a better life. When you have that really intimidating coaster ride like that, you get on it. Generally, you enjoy it, the adrenaline, the endorphins. So you've got that positivity, but on top of that, you have that sense of accomplishment and that great feeling that, hey, I conquered my fears and I survived. And so, so that's awesome. I'm not surprised you got back in line. So that's really cool. Given that you identified that as being the coaster that scared you the most, and again, totally understanding, how would you say, beyond just having fun and being really positive about things afterwards, how would you say that conquering that fear, the coaster that scared you the most, impacted your life?
So yeah, it kind of just was like, I knew that like everything, I'm going to be fine after that. It's just a fear in the back of my head. Like, hey, this could happen, but I know it's not going to happen. So it's kind of like now I can use that in the real world. Hey, if I'm scared to do something, just think about that time. Hey, I was fine after, and I wanted to do it again. So there's something in the real world, like maybe it's driving a car for the first time or something simple. You're going to be okay. Just face it. And then who knows, you could love it like I did with X2. And you could just keep on just doing on it again. And you never know until you face it.
Right. So in other words, what X2 helped teach you is that when you're afraid of something, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go that way. It's sort of like that anxiety makes us think of the worst possible outcome. And sometimes that outcome can happen, sometimes, but oftentimes it doesn't. Is that where you're getting at? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Okay, that totally makes sense. Going beyond just that conquering moment for you with X2, how would you say in general coasters and theme parks have had a positive impact on your life?
So yeah, I've met a lot of great people from theme parks. There's so many to count, I can't even think now. I remember before I was like shy, which is surprising. I was shy. I didn't really want to like meet new people. And now I'm like, hey, if you ever see me at the park, I'd love to meet you and all that. It's just like, it's made me happier. Going to theme parks is what I love doing. So whenever I'm there, I'm at my happiest,
Yeah. And that's something we see again and again. It's, theme parks are that theme park therapy where, you could have had a bad day, a stressful day. Like, for example, before we started talking today, again, baseball is one of your passions. We had baseball here today before we started the interview, and you said it didn't go so great. Now, granted, it's very late right now. You don't have the option. You could have, if the game was earlier. It was a game or practice, by the way. Was it practice?
It was a game.
It was a game. Okay. If the game was an earlier game, you could have, had a rough day, but you could have gone to a park afterwards.
Yeah.
Kind of brushed it off. Have you done that before, by the way?
Yeah. Like sometimes, like we'll have a super busy day at work, then I'll go home and then just go to a theme park.
Right.
Take the stress off.
Exactly. That's what theme park therapy is all about. But the other thing you mentioned, which again I've seen it again, and I've certainly experienced this myself, is sort of the social transformation. I was never a full-on introvert. I certainly have become more extroverted, more kind of social and more outgoing because of my love of parks and all the people I've met. It's a really cool thing because it's not like the coasters directly teach us to be more extroverted.
Yeah.
I think what it is we're having all this positive energy going on, the endorphins, the adrenaline. We're sharing that with other people we meet, or people our friends are already friends with and we're hanging out at the parks with, and just sharing all that positive energy together and that excitement. It just encourages us to be the best people that we can be. And part of that is being social. Humans are social. So yeah, I've seen that before with other people, and I think it's a great thing. So that's awesome. Speaking of positivity with parks, I know that you've been doing some volunteer work at your home park at Busch Gardens Tampa. Talk to me about what you've been doing there, how you got involved with that at a pretty young age.
So yeah, I help run one of the main Facebook groups, like past member groups for Busch Gardens. Honestly, I got into that, I would probably say we're going on almost 2 years now, since a little bit before they reopened from COVID. And I was 15 at that time, maybe 16. So I was super young. And it's really, It's been great for me because I've gotten to network my way into knowing a lot of people. I know the park president, I got to know Andrew Schaefer, director of design and engineering. Just got to know a lot of people. And it's always great because almost every time I go there, I meet someone new from the group. And I love connecting with them. And it's taught me a lot of responsibilities, and it gives me a lot of experience that you can't really, I'm not saying you can't get, but it gives a different type of experience you might not get in the real world sometimes.
Right.
But yeah, and it helps me build my relationships because say I want to work at Busch Gardens, I already know some people and all that.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. You mentioned, for example, Park President Neil Thurman, who I've met as well. David, who you met earlier, our founder of Coaster Challenge, our other executive producer, he's based in Burbank in LA, and you probably know Neil. Before he came to Busch Gardens, he was
at Magic,
was president for a number of years at Magic Mountain. Yeah, and David and him are friends. They've met up several times, and he's a really good guy. And I think he did a lot of good things for Magic Mountain. He really, any of the areas, the new rides he put in while he was there, coasters and so forth, any area that they put new coasters into and new rides in, they spruced up and really improved the theming in that area and kind of plussed up the park. And I think, he's probably going to do that as well at Busch Gardens in Tampa.
Oh yeah, he's
so that's
doing
exciting.
it right now. They're repainting the whole front area. I know they've repainted the Moroccan Theater. They repainted a bunch of Pantopia. They just recently repainted Montu, which in my opinion looks great. And they're just doing a whole bunch of touch-ups, which is making the park look amazing.
Some of these people that, they get so crazy about just like, what your rankings are about this painting and stuff. I mean, yeah, some of the painting is a little bit odd, but overall, it's great to see these coasters just so bright and vivid and just alive again. It's like they're rejuvenated. It's just nice to see it.
And it also is good from a parks point because it gets them talking about the coaster, and it's like free marketing basically. Yeah, you're talking about it, and people are going to come look at it, and then they're going to ride it.
It's like, hey, did you see that crazy new paint scheme or how bright the track is? It's like a brand new ride, and people talk, like you said, people talk about it. Absolutely. The Facebook group. So you're one of like the admins on there.
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah, that's really impressive because you said you got involved like at 15 years old. I don't think I've heard of someone that young being an admin of a Facebook group. That's really cool. And like you said, it taught you responsibility. That's really awesome. Speaking of volunteering, having responsibility, more near and dear to me, because I'm not a member of that group. I just have so many groups I'm already a member of on Facebook. I do go to Busch Gardens, certainly, but something that I'm more involved with more directly, with ACE. You and I are both ACE members. I want to congratulate you. Just literally today, the day we're recording, it was announced by Michael Christopher, another good friend of mine, awesome guy, the Florida ACE rep, and he does such a great job. I love what he does with the ACE here in Florida. Amazing guy, awesome guy. He announced officially that you are now his assistant rep for ACE here in Florida. Isn't that right?
Correct. And that's been awesome. That's been in the works for a little while because since I'm under 18, we were trying to figure out, hey, can I do this or do we need to wait till I'm 18? But it's nice that it worked out.
Gotcha. I was wondering because, as you mentioned, it's been in the works for a while. I do a lot of ACE events, and I've been noticing our media events and so forth representing Coaster Challenge. And Michael will be there representing ACE, and I noticed you were with him a lot, like Icebreaker and other things. And I'm like, what's going on? I wonder, is he kind of helping him out? And, I figured it was cool and all on the up and up. Here we are now, it's official, so that's great. And I know that he's got other people helping him. I know he could use the help from talking to him. So I'm glad that he has you to rely on. So I bet you're really excited about that, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm super excited.
So you and I have been on Iron Gwazi. I know it's your new number one, as you mentioned earlier. And the night rides on Iron Gwazi are amazing. So good. Seeing that coaster warm up. Yeah, it's so good because there is some lighting, but there's not a lot. And I think especially in the barrel roll down drop or whatever one calls it, the death roll, it's so tight in there. And at night, it's pretty dark. And it just feels so intense going in there. So yeah, it's when that ride warms up, it's just amazing. So yeah, I've gotten a few night rides on it. So I'm guessing, is Iron Gwazi the coaster you've ridden the most?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, I would think so. Well, what would be the one that would be the number 2, you think, the most ridden?
So this is actually kind of funny. It's not one that many people would expect, but it's actually Tigris. I think I'm at 115 rides on that.
Oh, wow. Now, is Tigris your second favorite in the park?
No.
So why?
I have to give that to Montu.
Montu. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, Montu is an amazing invert. What's fascinating to me is, and again, everyone has a different favorites. My 2 favorite inverts are both Busch Gardens inverts, Alpengeist and Montu. I don't know why. It's the way it is for me. I've been a lot of inverts, but Montu is amazing. I love Montu's layout. Oh, yeah. So if Montu is your second favorite, why have you ridden Tigris so much? How is that? Because that usually has a longer line too, because it's only got one train.
Honestly, I don't even know. I know I did a lot of rides during the soft opening back in 2019.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe because Itai works, honestly, and I have fun seeing him all the time.
Yes.
But yeah, it just ride it a lot, I guess.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, Itai is awesome. Here in our second season, Itai has joined our team. He's one of the new associate producers. is a great guy, and looking forward to him contributing. Yeah, I know, and he's a good friend too. It's amazing. Itai's awesome. Yeah, that makes sense to go and see him and all that. Very cool, very cool. Got a few more questions for you here. I think we're gonna have some fun with these. What would you say has been your craziest moment ever on a coaster?
Craziest moment ever. Oh boy, that's a good question. I had to think about that one for a second. Two of them, I think. One was at Iron Gwazi Media Day. I won't forget this. So it's funny. I was sitting in row 2. There was a news anchor in front of us, and we were going down. It was a normal ride, and then we go over the first Outer Bank turn, and all you see is something from her shirt, and we're like, "Oh, okay." We didn't know what it was. We come back, and it ends up being the mic pack, and it takes them like a good 45 minutes to find it. That was very interesting.
Oh, so the wireless mic you're talking about, like the pack that it plugs into?
Yeah, it flew off of her.
Yeah, I was there for Media Day, and they wired me up just like everyone else. I've never had something like that happen on a coaster before, where they wire someone up with a wireless mic. Thought that was pretty interesting that they did that, but interesting that they actually, it fell off. It like fell on the ground or something like that, or luckily it didn't hit anybody. Wow. There's something, I mean, Gwazi is, I keep calling it Gwazi, Iron Gwazi is very intense at times, which I love.
Yeah.
There's something about perhaps it's all the ejector and so forth, but whatever it is, people's shirts start to come off on that ride. And
it happens to me all the time.
That was definitely a unique moment for you with that mic pack coming off. You said there was another one as well. That was kind of like the craziest moment.
The day Disney reopened officially after COVID, I don't remember the exact date. We were on Splash Mountain, and we got like one of the last rides of the night. Got my first ever evac. It wasn't anything special. It was like at the very end, and they walked us out backstage. But I thought it was pretty cool, to be honest.
Oh, that's
their
cool.
evac. Yeah.
It's interesting. A lot of people, when we ask this question, their answer is an evac. Most of the evacs are at Disney that they talk about. It's so interesting that, so many evacs at Disney, but yeah, interesting. The next question was going to be your favorite coaster, which is obviously Iron Gwazi. Let me ask you this. It's already, made it obvious it's Iron Gwazi. What was your previous favorite coaster before Iron Gwazi?
This is a not very common one, I don't think, at least, but it's Verbolten at Busch Gardens Williamsburg.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Verbolten is my favorite coaster at Williamsburg, Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I'm curious, though, I don't want to bias you. What made it your favorite? What do you like about that ride?
So it was my first ever ride that had a drop track, and I didn't know anything about it. So I was like, okay, I thought this was going to be mine. And then I get on it. I don't know if you've ever been on it or not.
Oh, yeah. No, like I said, it's my favorite at that park. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then just out of nowhere, it just drops. And that drop is forceful. And I really wasn't expecting it. And you get like a crazy amount of ejector from it. And it's just like, holy crap, man. It was crazy. And then it just launches you. So I don't know. There's just something about that I just love so much.
Yeah, no, I love that too. Certainly. That's one of the things I love about that ride. And now that I've been on Hagrid's so many times, because I had ridden Verbolten before Hagrid's, but it was like 2 years before Hagrid's opened. So now that I've been on Hagrid's, I know what Hagrid's feels like. I've memorized. On the other end of the spectrum here, what would you say is your least favorite coaster or your most hated quote unquote coaster?
So this one actually just became it recently. It's a Mind Blower over at Fun Spot. I don't know. There's just like, I rode it I want to say like a year and a half ago back. It seemed fine to me. And then I went and rode it again in January. And I don't know, it just beats you up like from head to toe. There's just something about it. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Interesting. I've been to Fun Spot Kissimmee. I've got the pass for it, but it's been like well over a year since I've ridden Mind Blower. I liked it a year and a half ago, but everyone has been complaining about it lately. I'm like, oh boy, I'm probably not going to like it anymore. But maybe they need to do some work on it, retracking, maybe some train maintenance. But everyone's been saying that. It's a shame too, because it's got a fun layout. Kind of the one last main question that we always ask our guests, you understand what the mission of Coaster Challenge is. You've experienced some of this stuff for yourself firsthand, going through facing your fears and having this sort of like positivity in parks, theme park therapy. Given the mission, what advice would you give those that are listening?
I think really the biggest thing that I've really started to do and learn over the past few months is just like really just be yourself. Don't think about what people have to say too much. If you start thinking about what people are saying, and you might like not be as happy, but once I started not really caring about what people are thinking and just living my best life, I've been super happy. You'll find who your real friends are and who the right people are to be around, and just be living your best life.
I love that advice. I have felt, again, sort of that what coasters and going to parks and just enjoying all this positivity can do. And like we talked about being more extroverted, both of us. I felt the same thing as what you just mentioned, where I don't care what people think, what I'm doing. I'm just doing it for myself. I'm not doing it to show off. I'm doing it for me because I'm living my best life. Like you said, I've made some major changes in my life just doing myself, doing what I want to do. I said, living my best life. I love your advice there. And I think I would add on to that is don't care about what people think, like you said, and just live your passion. And who cares what people think about it? Because it's for you, it's not for them. Thank you.
You'll find out you'll be 10 times happier doing that.
Exactly, totally. Last thing to ask you here before we finish up, Tayton, and feel free to share whatever you'd like in terms of social media, your YouTube channel, website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you'd like to share, how people can find you and follow you and talk to you.
Yeah, I mainly just use Instagram. It's just my name, Tayton. I think it's .Laing. Really, that's just the main thing. I use Snapchat every now and then, but really, if you want to contact me, it's really just mainly on Instagram.
Awesome. And you spell your last name Laing, right?
Correct.
Right. Just in case people are, because there's different ways to spell that. Awesome. All right. Well, Tayton, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. And I'm so excited you have this new amazing #1 in your home park, and just continue to enjoy it, rack up those rides. Maybe, hey, you can surpass Luke or maybe even Kaylin, over the summer here. So just enjoy.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Tayton. That was a really awesome interview, Jen.
That it was.
He's very lucky to make his home park is Busch Gardens, Tampa, man. He gets to enjoy Iron Gwazi on a daily basis.
It sounds like somebody else that likes to make his theme park trip to Universal. We won't mention any names, though.
Oh, yes. We know a certain somebody who lives 5 minutes from Universal and just loves getting on Velocicoaster on a daily basis. Lucky. That's all I can say about that.
Right.
You know who we're talking about. And those that don't, you can always look back at our further episodes from season 1 and you'll know what we're talking about. Well, guys, I hope you guys had a wonderful month of June. Can't believe June's already coming to an end. Hope you guys are having a blast out there. July is around the corner and 4th of July is nearby. I hope you guys have big plans to celebrate the 4th of July, either at a theme park or at your home or at a park. Hope you guys fire up those grills and cook up some good food and just enjoy time with family and friends. That's very important. But in the meantime, so Bradley, how can they find us on social media?
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to see more of us, we upload every Friday. And check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all at Coaster Challenge. Links are in the description below. Thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you, Bradley. Yes, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast network. We really appreciate if you give us a thumbs up and a review. It would mean a lot to all of us here on the podcast. And also, don't forget to visit our website at www.coasterchallengeusa.com. Click on the store. We got brand new merchandise out this season with new designs, new colors, new products, and anything purchased, the proceeds are donated to a local charity at the end of every year. We hope you guys will buy some of our shirts, our hats, be able to represent us at the parks. We would really appreciate that. And in fact, if you happen to be wearing a Coaster Challenge shirt and happen to be at a park, feel free to take a picture at your favorite coaster site or favorite spot at any park and send it us on Instagram at Coaster Challenge USA, and we would be happy to post it on social media. Well, make sure to do that, guys. And also, we may actually put you a picture in a drawing, and then once we have so many, we will do a drawing, and the winner could possibly win up to $100. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, guys, this is David Cantu.
This is Jenna Gazelle.
We'll see you all next week right here on Coaster Challenge.